what, 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 what.
Welcome back. You're listening to Home Wizards. I'm Cindy Dole.
Hey, I'm Eric Stromer.
And we love to make you feel good about the place you call home. It's called improving your home and improving your life. And as we're putting Christmas away, you know, there's a lot of things that you can do to be a little more organized so that next year you know exactly what you have and you aren't as stressed out when you put Christmas back up again.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
the whole key is making it stress-free for the next time, just with a little organization now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the key.
And if you have a lot of big outdoor lawn ornaments, like do you have one of those inflatable snowmen? Or...
No, I do have a reindeer made of twigs.
Oh, so do I.
Well, hey,
big one.
how dare you? That's where mine went missing, I think, when you came
No,
and took
it
mine.
didn't take
Stole
yours.
my deer.
I didn't. But if you have a couple of those kind of odd-shaped decorations that take up, you know, more space than you can put in a box, again, save those zippered garment bags that you get when you buy a new suit or a dress, and then you're going to use those to protect the reindeer.
Yeah, or any unused luggage works great, too.
Oh, my gosh.
You know,
That's a good one.
I actually had a whole set of luggage for my parents that they're no longer using. I'm storing some of my Christmas decorations in some of those wheeled suitcases, which work pretty good.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Now, if you have holiday linens that end up, you know, getting kind of wrinkled, you know, ironing a big linen tablecloth is probably the last thing that you want to do during the holidays. So if you use a skirt hanger for all of your tablecloths.
Wait, what is a skirt hanger?
It's the one that's
is that a real
little,
thing?
little clippies.
Oh, that's what those little clips
or-
are for, hanging skirts?
Yeah, or pants.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I always wondered what those were
Yeah,
for.
so you could use that for anything tied to placemats, napkins, and then they don't become creased,
Right.
you know, at the bottom or even in a drawer, right, that fold line.
I would always just pull those out of a closet and kind of look at them and then throw them out.
Yeah. I know.
What good are these? I don't know what these are.
But as you're putting Christmas away, I mean, you really have to kind of become a professional mover. You know, you have to think about. You have to think like a pro, so that things, especially if you have delicate ornaments. I collect Santas, and a lot of my friends collect, you know, things that are expensive in terms of some of these tree ornaments that are like one of a kind, right?
Yeah.
You've seen some of these different really delicate glass balls or hand painted
Boy, and
from
they're
Poland,
pricey.
right?
Yeah. What's that company that does the really super
Blanco,
fin-
and there's a bunch of these different guys that
Super
are artists,
fancy.
you know, and they sign it and so forth. But if you've gone that far, you don't want to find next year that they're chipped,
No,
you know,
you
or
don't.
broken and so forth. So there's a lot of these different boxes that come already padded, you know, and partitioned that have, like, for instance, you talked about the juice box that you have. Right, the beverage box.
Right.
Wine boxes also make a
Oh,
good.
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Because they always come with a little divider sort of pre-existing. So maybe that's another excuse to buy a
drink
case
some
of
wine.
wine. There you go.
Or maybe if you go to some of these beverage stores, they might have in the back some leftover boxes.
They'll give them away. You just got to ask them. Right, Seth Bindrup,
Yeah.
who works at a fine market?
They'll probably give them away.
It's not hard to get,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
So, yeah, good idea. And now, in terms of storing your decorations in the basement, right, which is always kind of damp, you want to use some of those plastic storage containers with the tight seals, right? Have you ever had that problem?
There's no, you know what? It's imperative that you, especially stuff that could be harmed with water. You got to have stuff that's watertight, obviously, because if it's in a basement, especially if you're in the Midwest and you get the flooding, which happens all the time if the sump pump goes out, either get stuff up on pallets when you store it or stuff that's water resistant.
On shelves, yeah. And it's a good idea. You know those little silica packets that you find in things
Sure, yeah.
that are always like in a shoebox,
Yeah.
you know, and it says don't eat this, whatever, but it's going to absorb. It's like a sponge.
Yeah.
It's going to absorb.
It wicks away moisture.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. What else do you like? You know, I was going to say, too, for artificial Christmas trees, it's really worth investing in some kind of a container or duffel bag that's specifically for that tree.
They make those, yeah.
They do, because, you know, if you don't have the right storage, they can get wrecked in storage when, boxes are on top of them or those limbs get bent out of shape and the connectors become difficult to fasten the next year. So definitely something like a big duffel bag, even a sports duffel bag would work great for those trees.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you say, some of these are made specifically for like a 9-foot tree, right? A big. Although if you have just some small ornaments that you still need to find the proper home for, I mean, you can even use some of your Tupperware or
Right.
your fill in the blank generic version, Snap-on, whatever it is. It's like little plastic containers for your leftover food.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
You know.
And then what else do you like?
Well, there's another really good one in terms of Christmas ball ornaments. I mean, a lot of these you can go online. There's a lot of websites. There's something called, if you go to organize.com, they have this 3-layer stack and snap ornament storage box. And it's plastic, but it holds up to maybe 50 ornaments, and it solves that dilemma of, you want to put ball on top of ball on top of ball, but you don't want them on top of each other directly.
Right. Now, can I tell you about the plastic storage containers?
Sure.
You do have to be careful about buying the least expensive versions of those because they do break down and get brittle and crack.
And they warp too, huh?
Yeah. So don't get the ones that are super thin that are way less money than the other ones that are available. Go the middle of the road price point, because I do find, especially again where my storage is in a hot area in the summertime, they bake and then that plastic gets brittle, and then the stackable element becomes sort of moot because they crack on you.
And the lid doesn't stay secured, right? It's kind of
Exactly.
cattywampus.
And too much weight will blow through that plastic in a couple of years. So definitely get something a little more substantial.
But before you go and buy the stuff, because it is tempting when you go to some of these websites or you go to these organization stores, oh yeah, it's like a candy store. First take inventory of what shapes and sizes and what space you have in terms of where the stuff will fit.
Good idea.
Because you might get a couple of really huge boxes and now you're like, oh, whoa, where's that going to, that's not going to fit in the closet.
Right, right.
Now, if you have a wreath, if you have a couple of these artificial wreaths like we do, so that's something I haven't tried before, but they actually make wreath storage bags.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And it's kind of like something that if you have some nice china, for your dining room table, it's one of those circular things with a zipper. It's a cloth storage bag that has cardboard on the bottom, but this just has a little thing in the middle where it's a solid center so that the ring goes around it. And the wreath goes right.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because if you spend time making a wreath that you want to keep that was craft oriented, really beautifully done, why have it get messed up by not having an effective storage system?
I mean, you with your pine cones, and I have peacock feathers and different things.
You know what else is going to sound crazy? I don't know about you, but I have probably 50 unmatched socks that live in a place in my laundry room that someday someone hopes are going to find their mate. They're not.
But you're going to use them.
You can use them to put Christmas ornaments in the sock as a way to kind of keep them from shattering when they clunk next to each other.
That's
in
a
the
very
box.
good idea.
Yeah.
I love that idea. I also love the idea of, again, if you have limited storage space, but you have a lot of ornaments, let's say you're in an apartment or a condo or just a very small house, you can get some of these storage boxes that slide right under the bed. That
I like
are very
those.
slender.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you don't go nuts, because, I mean, if you're trying to store everything under the bed, all of your, spare out-of-season clothes and the ornaments, it starts to get kind of nutty. But I like the idea. They have some of these polyester cases that have a nice little snap-on lid or a zipper, but it's maybe, no more than 3 inches or so tall, very nice and flat to hold certain ornaments that aren't...
And you have to make sure that you have a traditional frame.
Yes.
Otherwise, they won't fit. So before you go out and invest in a lot of those, make sure that your bed is up on a metal frame with wheels, and you've got that. You might even want to measure it before you go and make sure it's going to clear. And then those are on casters, so they'll roll in and out from under the bed. But again, make sure you have clearance.
Now, when you go online, I mean, there really are so many of these new, there's websites dedicated just to this, ChristmasOrganize.com, you name it, all these sites, because let's face it, there's money in our disorganization. And
No
all
question.
of us have all this stuff, so just be careful before you start, buying. Just take a look at the available space you have, and what you need to put away.
That's right. I do like the ability to see through the thing that's the storage container, especially when you're, because if you have just a cardboard box, you do have to rely on you labeling, and if you're not effective with that, then again, it's moot, and you start to tear through boxes, and they get broken down over time, and then you're in a bad spot. So I do like the clear or opaque storage containers. At least you're going to see like things with like things, right?
Or if you do have solid, maybe color code. You might have like red boxes.
Sure.
Because maybe you have other kinds of decorations for other holidays that you're storing.
Sometimes the Halloween gets mixed in with the Christmas, and that's a bad deal.
Yeah. But I agree with you. I like the clear for just about anything, because then whether it's a food container, or a decorating container, I mean, then you can see it, and it just helps clear your head. I mean, you don't have to stop and think, what's in there, what is it,
Yeah, and I would also, I don't mind going smaller but stackable.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to get huge tubs thinking you're going to try and save space by getting it all in one big one, when you could do about 5 smaller ones that are easier to manage. They're stackable. They can fit on the top. That crazy shelf in everybody's house,
Mm-hmm.
which is in the closet, which is about 3/4 of the way up.
Right.
And then you've got all that space from the shelf to the ceiling. You could really get 5 or 10 of those things stacked up on that shelf in some guest room somewhere that might be more effective for you than having 2 big things in the garage that are going to get destroyed anyway.
Right, and it's more temperature controlled.
There you go.
Less risk.
Yeah.
But really, as you're getting ready to put Christmas away, consider downsizing the decorations that you don't really use or want.
There's no question.
That's going to help you too, because now maybe you want to give it to a charity.
And if you didn't use it this year, chances are you'll never use them again anyway.
Yeah.
So that's another good thing to do. Take a picture of the tree before you break it down. Remember what you used.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the stuff that's sitting now in storage, before you put everything away, this may be the time to just take those boxes right to some Salvation Army
Exactly,
situation.
because, everyone loves a nice Christmas ornament, or you can share it with a relative.
Yeah.
All that's good stuff. So this is going to take the overwhelming stress out of Christmas next time.
That's right.
And by the way, as you're putting it away, don't feel like you've got to do it all in one day. Give yourself maybe a couple of days, because it can be,
it's overwhelming.
Again, kind of a big chore,
Yeah.
right? When we come back, we have some more great ideas to help you put Christmas away. Some things you can do with your Christmas tree, if you had a fresh cut tree, to recycle it beyond putting it at the curb.
Good.
It's going
Let's
to be
hear
great.
it. Yeah.
Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole, you're listening to Home Wizards.